Good morning. It's about 5:30 in the morning. I have about 20 guests coming over this afternoon about 4 o'clock. It's my father-in-law's birthday, and we decided to do 2 pork shoulder smoked shoulders for his birthday, and I think he's going to like what he sees. The first roast here, I used a 5 Chinese spice barbecue pork shoulder. The second shoulder here is more of a traditional pork shoulder, Texas style rub. My wife actually did the rub and got a lot of creative. So I'm letting these sit out to on the counter, getting to room temperature, and I got the fire stoking on the PK grill, and I'm gonna start some smoking. Here I got my chimney going. I got my PK grill open. Here's my little grill that I use for capturing the coals. Here's my little tinfoil water capture. I'm going to put the coals into my little receiver here. You can tell that everything's really hot, nice and ready to go. Whew, nice. There we go. Sorry, it's early in the morning. I'm going to come over here and sort of replace my tongs, make sure I got everything. Spread these guys out. Okay, next I'll get the pieces of meat. Okay, it's almost been about 3 hours since I started this, and it's cooking really nice, as you can tell. It seems to be handling it really good. I put a little foil on this end just to make sure that it doesn't burn. It's that side's closest to the heat, and since I got two racks going and I have to be able to close this thing, I want to make sure that it just doesn't burn. Looks like the charcoal is really good. I just put some more in, and so it looks like it's heating really well. And I got the vent set up, as you can tell, on the top, and it's a good check. So I'll check in about 2 more hours and put some more coals in. Okay. Hi, now that the grill's going and everything's automatic, let me just talk a little bit about the briquettes and the PK grill itself. I normally use briquettes from Kingsford. There's you can also use wood coal, but I found that the Kingsford produces the amount of ash that's pretty regular, and each briquette is between 8 to 15 degrees in terms of heat. I think if you look it up, some people may say between 10 and 20, but I just found, just from Dutch oven cooking and my own experience, that 8 to 15 degrees seems to be about right. So if I want to keep an internal temperature in the smoker between 225 to 250, I need at least 25 briquettes to get the temperature going. I usually use probably 25 to 30 at the beginning, and I just to get everything all warmed up, and then maintain the amount of briquettes I have in there at between 25 briquettes. In this case, since I have 2 shoulder pieces in there, I'm using probably about 30 briquettes, maybe a little bit more, just because of the sheer mass of amount of pork. And I'll show you what that looks like. So let me just open this up here, and here's a sideshow of it. And I got the 2 pork shoulders, and this one normally doesn't stick out this far, but since it's right over the heat, I had to put some foil over to make sure it doesn't burn or char. So as you can tell, I got the fire on this side, and what I want to be able to do is create a vortex inside here using the charcoal grill. Let me just close this up here and explain that. So I have the heat on this side. It sucks up air from the bottom, and it circles around in here, in a little convection style, and I control the temperature through this one vent at the top toward the rear. And so if I close the vent or open the vent, generally if I close it, it causes less air and less oxygen inside, and so it lowers the temperature. And if I open up the vent here, it actually increases the temperature because there's more heat being released and more air is able to circulate and vent the charcoal, so the charcoals get really more air. This grill has vents on both sides and on the bottom because you could do some regular barbecue and with hamburgers and steaks, and so you could open up both vents to have that full air escape. So with the PK grill, it's really made out of all aluminum, and it distributes the heat evenly because of that all aluminum. And because of that, you could also leave it out in the rain, and it shouldn't rust on you because aluminum doesn't rust. So that's the introduction to the PK grill and a little bit of the mechanics I have. I'm shooting for about 8 to 9 hours of smoking with these two pork shoulders in here with a slightly little elevated temperature because of the sheer mass of meat that I have in there. And I'm hoping that that formula works versus low and slow with a smaller volume. Okay, and we'll check on it later.
That was what was nice about it.
Preaching? Are you preaching now? Not yet, but I guess. Yeah.
The first one, you should get a permanent.
That's great. It would be great. Because I like U.S. history, and there's so many. And they're a little more self-sufficient.
Okay, so here we are after 8 hours of smoking. We're cooking up these pieces here. Show this side. There you go. Delicious. Okay, that's good.